Today is the hottest day of the year so far in Hong Kong. CLP is dropping the electricity tariff for August thanks to falling fuel prices. Bangladesh leader reportedly fled the country following massive protests. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Today is the hottest day so far this year. Temperatures in most of Hong Kong rose to over 35 degrees Celsius. The observatory said the hot weather will remain for the next few days. Mimo Singhai reports.
Under the scorching sun, most people had an umbrella or a hat to protect themselves. Some decided to escape by sitting in the shade. Sunglasses and portable fans become essential outdoor items. This woman said the heat makes her uncomfortable, adding she now spends less time outdoors. The observatory said an anticyclone aloft is covering southern China, leading to temperatures over most parts of the city reaching 35 degrees Celsius or above. As for 5 p.m., the recorded temperature in Sha Tin was 36 degrees, while in Da Guling was 37.3. The place with the highest temperature was Shenzhou, reaching 38.9 degrees Celsius. The observatory said residents should expect a few showers and thunderstorms in some areas tonight and Tuesday morning. Temperatures will remain high in the coming days. The observatory reminds residents to consume more water and be cautious of symptoms of heat stroke, such as dizziness, headache, and nausea. Mims 9, TVB News.
Back in Hong Kong, CLP said its electricity tariff in August will be 2% lower than the January figure. The power company also said it will use more electricity from the mainland's nuclear power stations in the future. As CLP announced its interim results today, the company's executive director, Tung Chung, said the tariff reduction is due to the fall in the international fuel market. He said further tariff adjustments may be possible, but it will depend on fuel price movements. To facilitate the Tung Chung line extension project, MTR will stop train services between Sunny Bay Station and Tung Chung Station about 2 hours early on Saturday, October 26th. Connecting buses will be arranged between the stations. The last train going from Hong Kong Station to Tung Chung Station will depart at 11:07 p.m. The Tung Chung line extension project is expected to be completed by the end of 2029. Two new stations, Tung Chung East and Tung Chung West, will be built. Hong Kong judo and sailing windsurfing athletes who took part in the Paris Olympics returned to the city this morning. The athletes were Cheng Chin-yin, Ma Kwang-ching, and Wong Ka-li. Some residents waited to greet the athletes at the airport. Cheng and Ma, who competed in the sailing windsurfing event, said they have learned a lot from the Olympics. The judo representative Wong said she plans to take a break before preparing for the Hong Kong stop of the Asian Judo Open in November. Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned on Monday and reportedly left the country amid a nationwide anti-government movement. The military will form an interim government. Nearly 100 people have died in renewed clashes, and thousands of protesters defied a military curfew and stormed Hasina's official residence. Hasina's resignation came after crowds marched in various cities demanding she step down. Danny Zhou has the story.
At least 95 people, including 14 police officers, were killed in Bangladesh's latest clashes on Sunday, bringing the death toll since July to more than 280. Around 10,000 people have been reportedly detained by security forces in the past 2 weeks. It all began last month when students demanded an end to a quota system that reserved 1/3 of government jobs for the families of military veterans. Most of the quota had been scaled back by the government. But protests continued as students demanded justice for those killed and urged Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to step down. Soldiers and police, in some cases, did not intervene to stem the unrest. And certain former military senior officers, including an ex-army chief, even showed support for the student movement and condemned the egregious killings. On Monday, vast crowds of students across the country were called in to join the Long March to Dhaka protest. Hasina accused them of sabotage and cut off the mobile internet. A nationwide overnight curfew was in place since 6 p.m, and all courts, including Supreme Court, were closed indefinitely. Danny Joe, TVB News.
Still ahead, far-right protesters in the UK clash with police. Ukraine shows off the F-16 fighter jets it wants to use to defend against Russia. Welcome back. An emergency COBRA meeting is taking place in London after riots and right-wing protests in towns across Britain over the weekend have seen more than 100 arrests and police officers injured. David Garrett reports.
An angry far-right mob in Rotherham, South Yorkshire, where demonstrators throw chairs at riot police and a hotel housing asylum seekers. 10 police officers were injured.
Right now, there are attacks happening on a hotel in Rotherham. Marauding gangs intent on law-breaking, or worse. Windows smashed, fire set ablaze, residents and staff in absolute fear.
Further northeast in Middlesbrough, where a tense standoff saw burning objects hurled at officers. Around 40 were arrested here. It followed similar incidents in other British towns over the weekend. Bristol in the southwest saw some of the most violent scenes. Some of the protesters were men draped in the England flag. Right-wing protesters saying they want their country back. The riots were triggered by a deadly stabbing incident that killed 3 children at a dance class in Southport near Liverpool last week. A 17-year-old has been charged with murder and attempted murder. Despite being under 18, his identity was made public by a judge. He was born in Wales and living in nearby Lancashire. The new centre-left Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's only been in power for a month, called the violence right-wing thuggery and promised perpetrators will face the law and jail time.
If you target people because of the colour of their skin or their faith, then that is far right, and I'm prepared to say so. But it doesn't matter what apparent motivation there is. This is violence, it is not protest.
Simply cannot stand for this, so we should be clear. There will be people who were thinking they were going on their summer holidays this week, and instead they will face a knock on the door from the police. They will face arrest and a prison cell, a police cell, while they wait for trial.
As the clean-up begins, an emergency government meeting, or COBRA, will try to work out a solution to quell anger, stop violent protests and bring the thugs to justice. Some are calling for the army to be deployed on Britain's streets. David Garrett, TVB News.
He has waited more than a year for them to arrive, and now Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky can finally say his military is in possession of F-16 fighter jets. The Ukrainian leader has long asked for the top U.S.-made fighters in an attempt to neutralize Russia's air superiority. Meanwhile, Ukraine has received a grant of $3.9 billion U.S. dollars, the first tranche of $7.8 billion to be given by the U.S. this year. Nazvi Karim has more.
2 F-16 fighter jets with Ukrainian pilots at the helm roar overhead. 2 more on display at an airbase at an undisclosed location in Ukraine to protect them from potential Russian attacks. Draped in camouflage netting, the planes provided the backdrop for Zelensky's Armed Forces Day address. The F-16s are expected to boost Ukraine's military capabilities, but analysts say they are unlikely to turn the tide of the war. Zelensky said the world will see its impact on the war, which started in February 2022 after Russia invaded the eastern provinces of Ukraine.
I can't for today give you details with the missions. I think you will see, maybe not all of them, but you will see the results. I think it's very dangerous for today. We need to do all the security measures which have been discussed with our partners about using F-16. But anyway, these jets are in our sky.
The jets are older models that were pledged more than a year ago by various countries, including Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands and Norway. More than 60 are expected to arrive over the coming months. The F-16 is an iconic fighter jet that has been the main combat plane for NATO countries for half a century. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Iran has vowed a crushing and smart response to last week's assassination in Tehran of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf said Iran would make Israel and its supporters regret their action, forcing them to rethink before making another mistake. Iran blames Israel for the rocket strike that killed Haniyeh, though Israel has neither confirmed nor denied involvement. An Iranian military advisor said Tehran's method would be new and surprising and unpredictable. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, said that anyone who harms our country will be held accountable. He said Iran and its proxies seek to surround Israel with a stranglehold of terror on 7 fronts. Tensions are at its highest since October 7th, when Israel launched its attack on Gaza in response to a Hamas raid. Tesla chief Elon Musk said his startup company Neuralink has successfully implanted a second trial patient with a brain chip. Neuralink said its device is designed to give paralyzed patients the ability to use digital devices by thinking alone. The company is in the process of testing its device, which is intended to help people with spinal cord injuries. The device has allowed the first patient to play video games, browse the internet, post on social media, and move a cursor on his laptop. Musk gave few details about the second participant, saying the person had a spinal cord injury similar to that of the first patient, suffered during a diving accident. He said 400 of the implant's electrodes on the second patient are working. The implant uses 1,024 electrodes. And back in the city, Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mak said the Hong Kong Youth Development Summit will be held on August 10th. She made the reminder while attending the launching ceremony of a youth career experience event organized by a mainland-backed company. China Resources Limited will provide around 100 positions for youths to get working experience. Helen Chen reports.
Speaking at the launching ceremony this morning, Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mak encouraged youth to learn about diverse development opportunities available to them. She said the Hong Kong Youth Development Summit, to be held this Saturday at the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center, welcomes youth from Hong Kong, the mainland, and overseas. Bai Yong, director of China Resources Limited, said the company will offer around 100 positions for young people to get working experience in areas spanning administrative work and specialized skills. This Form 3 student from a secondary school shared his experience of participating in the event over the 2 previous years. He said it encouraged him to learn about coffee making and that he had already successfully obtained a barista license. Helen Chen, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. Bye for now.